Okay, so April 13th, this is 6 hour. So we all know that what happened yesterday, it was bloodbath for alts. For Bitcoin, as you could see, it wasn't much. I mean, the chart tells you what kind of drop it was. But yeah, so this is the drop from yesterday. As we can see that this drop didn't even break below 2nd of April low. So this is like, of course, this has caused a lot of bloodbath in all, like so many coins went down. I think by 20 to 40%. That's what I saw. It was like carnage. That's what I mean. That's how it works. I mean, the alts are like that. They're always vulnerable in a way. Um, So that's how it is. Let's start with BTC and then we'll look into all the odds as usual and try to understand the overall trend. Now, we always start with lower time frame to understand what BTC is doing. So to start with, I'll say the consolidation is going on. So I have extended the orange box in terms of timeline because because of this drop, the breakout on the upside didn't happen. So we can say this drop has added delay. There is no structural damage, so to speak. What it has done is added delay. Even if you look at simple method like trend line, very simple method, it, you can see that it stopped at this trend line. Now again, this method is very primitive method, but even primitive method is telling a lot. That if the trend line can explain that nothing has happened, there's no need to even use any advanced method. So in a way, we can say this drop is a non-issue to begin with. Now, uh, we know that lot of thing is happening, and this drop, in my opinion, primarily because of DXY's boost. I will look into DXY because now it is important, and we have been keeping eye on DXY, dollar index, right? And there is definitely pressure on BTC. However, I would say the amount of DXY went up. Even stock market, very resilient. It didn't care. I mean, it came under pressure, but it's not like the DXY was able to crash BTC. No way. So that is incredible in my point of view. But we were anticipating that if DXY goes up, we were anticipating pressure on BTC. So this drop is more like pressure, not like crash. This is how I would define. And simply because it hasn't broken any lows, and we just saw that how even simple trend line is not broken. So there is definitely no structural damage happened so far. But so that's why I would say this is more like BTC under pressure. But that is part of the game. I mean, there are always some positive and negative event, and then price would reflect those events. We have to see that if there is a negative event, how bad the impact is. And the impact is not at all severe. And that is something good. So I think that's a key takeaway. Now, so 6 hour tells us that the range, this is range bound. Let's look at one day and see if anything different. Um, Definitely no new pattern I see on one day, right? See, it is possible. So now, because it is here, it has to come back to this one. So unless and until it consolidates in this region, which region? 72K to 73K region. It has to, let me draw something. So we would like to see price somewhere here. and then shoot up. So I would not like to draw from the beginning. I mean, not from the current level. I would not like to draw. What I would like, I'm drawing this purposefully. I would like to see price reaches this level, consolidation, consolidates, and then shoots up. So this is to indicate that I'm not trying to say, see, I did mention about 100K on Discord. So let's not mix up because that is more on the macro resistance point of view. I'm talking about this 1 day chart. Okay, so the 1 day, so I'm just clarifying because you might be thinking I posted something on Discord and now I'm talking about this condition. So just a quick clarification on this, that when you look at lower time frame, then you would expect this price to reach this level, and then it goes on a higher level. And also note that I'm on the low time frame, I'm just drawing up to this level, 80K level, but on a high time frame I'm talking about how much higher level. So when you talk about different resistance and support point, it varies on a time frame basis. So this is very important because if I, let's say, go on 1 hour, your support and resistance is different, and when you go higher time frame it is different, right? So this is very important. And this one yellow and this risk level are more like weekly level. So that's another clarification. And more, and we consider weekly is a trend level time frame for our analysis. Okay, so I hope there is no confusion about what I just stated. So at a lower time frame, like 1 day, I would like price to be in 72K range. If it consolidates here, then it provides a platform and then shoots up. That would be amazing. And I don't see any issue at this moment. I don't see any issue. So 1 day looks good. Let's look at 1 week, and we have this another layout. So you see the low hasn't broken this layer, the yellow, it hasn't. So we zoom out, we had this white and then a blue, turquoise, and the yellow. These are like stepping stones. And even this week's low is still within a good range. So this is simply consolidation. And you can see that how the price is still within this circle. Maybe we can make it little larger, right? Essentially, there is no change. The angle would change, right? Angle would change because of the because of consolidation, but fundamentally there is no change. This line, we can draw another line actually. In I had one line. These lines are indicative. I want to clutter the diagram with it. Certain ones for clarity. For now, okay. I'm removing less probable scenario at this moment. We'll add if there is. Otherwise, we'll just mix up. Okay, now this is clear. Right, when you look at this big one, so this is all-time high, major previous cycles are all-time high, then a major correction up to its previous low, right? And then another attempt, and then double top, and then breakdown. And this was bear trend, so to speak. It was not very long actually, but yeah, um, because considering this was annoying part. So from here to here, this is bear trend. This was more like an attempt within this, but there's no way to tell that bear trend started at this level. When we see this one, we would it is more of a bull run. So this segment is more of a bull run, not like bear trend. Because retrospectively, we can say that okay, now this was the top, this was an attempt, and then so we can say it started going down from here, then went up, and then here, right? So this is easy to say retrospectively, but when it is happening, you would say this is the first major correction after major bull run. If we zoom out like this one after this COVID drop, and then a major bull run, and then we can say, oh, this was the first major one because these were minors, 1 2 3 4, right? And then this is a major one, and then it's like, okay, now it's going up, but then the fund rate changed, right? The Fed came into picture, and then it brought down. That's what happened. So as I mentioned earlier, for me, the cycle started from here, and that cycle, this is the whole entire cycle. But because this drop was major, unlike this one, I'm just considering this as cycle 5, but this is actually cycle 4 in progress. If I zoom out and consider all 14 years of trend, because if you look at it, this drop was more like forced drop, this particular so this is not a bear trend at all, right? So this was it went down up to this one, but it would have gone up, as I mentioned earlier as well. This is a quick recap, and that's why I drawn this white line, this white path, that this is just, this is how it is progressing. So I have too many drawings at this moment. I had to keep it. Maybe, yeah. Um, maybe I'll remove for time being, then roll back. So I just want to highlight that so this was because of COVID. This move would have probably happened from here. So there was delay by few weeks or a month, and then went up. This was very natural correction, like this one. This one was a very natural correction after major bull run, and this was an attempt, for a new all-time high and all. It didn't happen, marginally higher, but it's nothing like new all-time high closing price point of view. And yeah, it's double top basically. And then this is because of Fed. It is not because, I think it's not like scripted one, it is more like forced one. This trend would have continued if there was no change in the fund rate, in my opinion. But anyway, that has happened, and that price was reflected like this. And this lag additionally was because of FTX. Otherwise, this was, so again, this leg was because of COVID. This leg was because of FTX, and then whole entire leg was because of the fund rate. I mean the interest rate from the Fed, which is fund rate. That's the impact. And then it started recovering, and at this moment, this is fully recovered. So I think we should celebrate that the price has fully recovered from Fed's action. Now, why we have to be watchful, not like worried. So there's a difference being watchful and being worried. Being worried as if like we are on the critical support and it's like a make or break kind of a level. This is not the moment like make or break. So there is no reason to be worried. But if people are worried, then that's their problem. I would say it is about more how they handle it. And sometimes probably they don't want to believe technical analysis, and they want to believe their own opinion, which is totally fine. But if those opinion is triggering emotion and those emotions are not helping, then they have to introspect, and then see if it makes sense for them to continue with such emotions and belief system, right? So, smart people understand that, I was worried unnecessarily, and the price kept on going up. So let me think over it. I don't expect anyone to believe blindly. I would like everyone to retrospect and introspect and see if what I believe makes sense or not. Is it helping or not? If it is not helping, what I should do so I can I can be with the trend and not with my own belief system, which is incorrect. So that's important. And my goal is to understand what market is doing. I mentioned earlier that technical analysis is not a predicting tool. It is about understanding what market's behavior. And there are methods which will give the projection, but the projections are not targets. This is another misconcept. People keep asking, what is the target of this point? Target, this is not a this is not a company that there is a quarterly target or yearly target, because they can do it because they know what they're planning. And based on the plan, they execute the plan, and then they can give the target and then try to meet the target. That's the process, right? For an example, when a company gives a guideline, still they say guideline, though not the target, but let's say that is more like a target where they try to achieve certain revenue, for an example, for a certain quarter. That makes sense because they have the plan and execution in their control. Of course, there are other factors, but at least that's their attempt. But the market is very different. The market is where one cannot do that, because that person who is analyst, let's say, or even trader or investor, is not the driver of the market. On a lighter side, only one person can do, which is Mr. Powell. On a lighter side, okay, that's what I would say. You know, otherwise, no one can tell that where the market is heading, right? So that's why there's no target. So market doesn't have a target. Let's understand what we have to make sure that we understand the trend. We have to understand the health, right? We have to assess the health, I mean, and then try to see the weakness, and then try to see the technical levels. This is what we have in hand, and that is more than enough, more than enough. But when we have unrealistic expectation like targets, and we go desperate about it, especially. So if one, so if I say let's say resistance is 90K, 100K, and if you want to believe that as target, it's your choice. Okay. Technical analysis doesn't say that's a target, because market is not an entity, is not a person who has target. It's a collection effort, it's a collective action which happens, and the condition changes every day, every hour, every minute. So market doesn't have agenda. So people talk about target as if the market is an entity or person who has some such target. There's no target. Not there is no target from BTC. It is just a human, psychology, or human mind which really looks for the target. There's no target as such. So sometimes people ask the wrong question, and wrong question cannot have right answer. This is important thing. The question has to be right for answer to be right. So that's why there's no correct answer for the topic, because the question itself is incorrect. So coming back to my previous point, that this is technically, I mean, we deviated, but it was related an important point. Now look at, so these are digression, but mainly this white path indicates that this is how the cycle 4 is progressing. And right now, the market has decided to recover, and it has recovered, right? BTC market. And there we are. So this is not point of worry. I mean, one can assume that this is triple top, his choice. And I mean, see, the technical analysis can make it happen. So for an example, I can say this is the inverted head and shoulder, for an example, where this is the left shoulder, this is the head. And I can say that, let's say this is going to go down like this. So it is possible, like I have done it here. I can say this is going to happen like this. So there is no deniability scenario point of view, but is it a probable scenario? Of course not. Now, why I'm drawing this? I'm drawing this just to indicate that these trend lines are indicating that this is, but this is like dashed line. Probably I should not be even doing this. So I would just remove it to avoid confusion here. Oh, you know what? I'll do it later because I'll lose my stepping stones. Yeah. Right. So I think this quick recap was important, especially when the market does something unexpected. When I unexpected means everybody wanted a new high, a new breakout, and then market dips and also there is always some kind of impact. So I always try to recap and try to show the bigger picture, because once you understand the bigger picture, then you will have better confidence, right? And understanding changes with that bigger picture. Like we it's about training ourselves, and it happens, but eventually everybody will understand. Those who are with me for long enough, they already know it, but I'm sure. So but it's important to recap, right? So this white path is the trend, and this is strong trend. There's absolutely no weakness, if you ask me. No sign of weakness. So that's why there is no need to think about lower level. Some of the analysts started calling top or major correction. I don't know on what basis. They are assuming that the Fed is going to raise interest rate. They're assuming the inflation will keep on going up. Of course, the war situation we know, but what if war doesn't happen? What if there is some conflict and then it dies out? And there's always something going on. The Ukraine-Russia war is going on for over 2 years, but the market has gone up. Of course, when it happened, the oil shot up and then there was impact and all. It happened. Yes, if the war escalated, then there could be impact and so on. But point is, it hasn't happened. You cannot execute something for which, for which is, for which, I mean, for imaginary scenarios. So I try to avoid, and that's why I often say that focus on the present. Yes, you project something, but projection is not execution. But some people end up executing based on projection, which I think it's their opinion. I won't criticize them, but I will definitely comment that that's not the right way, right? But I appreciate their own opinion. But I would, I would disagree or defer to the way they think. For me, the event has to occur, and then I want to see the impact, because there can be some positive, negative events, and then the net effect is not really realized in terms of price action. Because for us, the events are not important. For us, the impact on the price is important. Not only that, let's say impact happens and the impact is negative. We have to see whether that negative impact has broken a key support or not. So there are it's a two-step process. First, the net negative result has to bring down the price. If not, then it's not a non-event or non-issue. And let's say it does, then we have to see what is the damage. Is it repairable? It is, or beyond. Simple thing. And we know the critical level. If that level is broken, we know it's damaged. Like you know that, like our health, right? When we injure ourselves, we know that we can recover. Depends on the injury. The injury is severe, then the recovery takes time. And same thing happens with the technical analysis. You won't believe. I keep on saying health, our own health, and this is extremely, I mean, is exactly the same in terms of how we see things. The system point of view, process point of view. So if we injure ourselves in a way that the injury is beyond repairable, we know, we call out. I mean, the doctor calls out that, okay, now this is not in our hand, something like that. So that's very similar. So the impact, we have to see the severity of impact, and then severity of impact needs to be measured. Whether you need a doctor, you need to go to ICU, or you have to call out that this is beyond repair or beyond beyond cure. So that's how it is. Yeah, so I think this recap was important. Sometimes I feel that I'm not saying anything different, but what can I do? The sometimes I try to come up with different example and point of view, but essentially I'm talking about the same thing. That's why I believe that I'm not required all the time. I'm required for analysis for sure, but probably I don't need to be so descriptive all the time because we are not having any new users. Everybody is old ones. I mean, old timers. So probably I can be brief now. But yeah, I mean, situation like this, I thought it's always better to repeat certain things. Anyways, let's come back. So this is non-issue. Yeah, if it starts going down, let's say 59K, 60K level, if it is broken, then definitely we have to think about it. But let me tell you, even if it breaks that level, and even if it comes down to 51K, 55K range, that's not an issue at all. Okay. If it breaks below 50K, then I would be 53K, 50K kind of a level, right? We will see. We'll see. Then definitely there is something serious. But let me tell you one thing. There is a huge amount of space left in terms of like it can tolerate a big drop, and still the trend would not break. So that I can tell you from technical analysis point of view. So this tiny dip is nothing essentially. Okay, so I think this is good enough. Can look at monthly quickly. The monthly, look at the monthly. This is correction. What month? This is 13. The month hasn't ended. So this is too early to call out. If this is month end, then we can say okay. But even if it is month end, we can say that how much damage? Because it's not a big damage, right? Even if this is month end, this is not month end, so even monthly looks okay, right? See, like this one, for example, if like you want to compare that, this is how month ends, and then the next month starts dipping, then you can say, okay, now that's something serious. You see my point? But with this, so just looking at this or looking at this, there's no need to. But when it starts next month, if it starts going down like this, then definitely we have to be we should execute our plan, right? Then it makes sense to do something. There's no need to panic, in my opinion. Absolutely no need. Because there's no reason. Okay, so this is good enough. Let's look at the DXY. Very important. So warning for BTC about, so I shouldn't say warning, pressure on BTC. I should say pressure, which is true. Pressure on BTC. That's the right word. I think I have different layout for this one and a different layout for what I posted on this part. But yeah, I mean, not so different, but maybe labels are different and some drawings are different. So the latest I posted yesterday has more details compared to this one, or different way to the same chart can be represented differently, but this is simple. So yeah, this is broken. So definitely pressure on BTC. However, it hasn't broken this. So and what I calculated that 106 is a resistance, means it can go down from 106, which is the current high. So this is resistance. If it closes above this box, then I think then it is likely, looking at the statistic, looking at the historical record. Again, these are reference data. Need to be very careful. I tagged reference data. And because if this is the driver, I know this is contributor, but not a driver. If this is the driver, then why we are analyzing BTC chart? We don't need to analyze BTC chart. So we have to see what forex market is doing, because it's very much related, right? All this crypto require a lot of money. I mean, debt. So if the dollar is expensive, the debt is expensive. And that's why the fund rate is important. That's why looking at the treasury yield is important, because it's related, all related debt. Everything, anything related to debt is relevant for BTC. Because BTC, when the Michael Saylor buys, he's not buying out using cash. He's buying using debt. Simple. So if the price goes down, he's going to liquidate, because he would have some collateral, and then for paying off, right, he has to sell. Anyone, he's just an example. Point is, all this buying happens on debt. Very simple. And let's not get into this kind of false narration that this is like anti-debt, and this is like deflationary and all. Those are fooling people. BTC is deflationary, we know that. But the point is, the price action is totally depends on that. If the debt is removed, let's say, then how can they pump this much? They cannot. There's no way. They have to earn that much money before they pump. So they're against that, and they use that to buy BTC. See the contrary. But nobody talks about it. Why? Because if I talk about it, people won't like it. Very simple. I mean, truth is not always beautiful, right? And so people are interested in pumping price. That's why. But the reality is, this pump is because of debt. So anyway, coming back to my point, that why the debt related matter, I mean, development or changes are important, because all the crypto market requires tremendous amount of debt. Right? If the interest rate goes up, BTC has to go down, because there is no way to buy. There's basically liquidity crunch we're talking about. And that's why we see impact. And the impact will be greater and greater if this goes up and up. It's as simple as that. So those who are just talking that this is store of value, that is BS. Totally BS. I mean, anyway, I don't want to get into that at this moment. Let's look at yields. The yields have touched this level. Yeah, the yields are progressing, and but yeah, I mean, yeah, this week it has gone up, but still, it has to break about this. Then there's real problem. For now, this is still a path. I'll remove this path. I'll remove this path. Uh, Actually, I'll remove the green path if it breaks about this level. Okay, because then it doesn't make sense. Then I'll have a checkpoint here. This is very critical. This is still manageable. This is not a concern at this moment, to be honest. But yeah. So we are approaching, this is definitely a pivotal time. This is very decisive level or phase where the market could swing in either side. But as I mentioned, there is no need to assume things. Just need to be aware. There is a difference between being aware, being watchful, compared to being fearful and taking action based on fear or assumption. That's my that's my message. Dominance is going up. So dominance has gone up. So this is not happening. Wow, wow, wow. Not a good news for all coins in general. Wow. So it's useless now. All this is because the trend is progressive. Wow. So look at monthly. Yeah. So BTC is has broken ultimately has broken. BTC has broken this resistance. So not good for overall. I mean, some of the alts will do well, but overall, it's not a good scenario. Not a good scenario. So again, it's about being selective. I mean, what can you do? That's how it is. Yeah, so it's heading up. So the money is getting into BTC. That's a simple conclusion. And it makes sense for now. Within crypto world, it goes to safer asset. And then if you zoom out and say, then it goes to safer stock. And if even stock market is under pressure, then it goes to short-term treasury or cash. That's how things move. And maybe some in commodity like gold or something, precious metal, some amount. But that's how it is. So when the debt market is good, when the inflation is in control and all that, then the more money comes into speculative asset like crypto or high beta stocks. And then basically, if I had to classify, I would classify in three different. So crypto is the most speculative, extremely high beta volatility now that, and very high risk, high reward, and then stocks, and then debt market, which is short term. I'm not on a long, but short term. And of course, finally the cash. And yeah, or alternative. I'm talking about specific regional. There is one alternative which is like there is a possibility that some other market might be doing well. For an example, I'm just digressing for a minute. Like India stock market didn't go down in 2022. Many people don't know that. Okay. All the Western and made all the world and in fact global market, stock market went down. It gone through the bear phase in 2022, except India's stock market made new all-time high in 2022. You can check. Okay. So the point is it is possible that some of the country or region might be doing well. So asset, it's a money moves from one to another and so on. The smart people, rotate money. The store of value narrative is actually not just for Bitcoin. It's like, say, store of value means the basically it's about you are supposed to beat inflation. So for example, if the inflation is 5% and your growth is more than 5%, then your asset has a store of value. It's as simple as that. But BTC pumped a lot. That's why it is more attractive. But store of value also, in my point of view, it should beat the inflation. Again, I'm not trying to claim that my definition is the definition, but this is what I believe, that the store of value is an asset which beats the inflation. So as I said, if the inflation is 5%, my asset should be doing better than 5%. So my value is retained. That's the simple understanding I have. And second thing I would like to see is with that retention, I want stability of that price also. I don't want 2 to 4 years of bear cycle, which we see in the crypto as well. Right. So I would like to see which asset will give me both of this. And that is truly the store of value in my point of view. Because think about someone who is old enough and let's say put in Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes down for 2 years. And that person requires money. How that person is going to, if there is a drawdown of 50, 60%. So that's not right. So that doesn't meet the second condition. It does meet the first condition if the holding period is long enough, let's say 4 years or more. Otherwise, it's not good because if you look at the current price is the same price for last 4 years, you can say that, or 3 years. 2021, we had this price, and now it's the same price. So in a way, you can say my Bitcoin price hasn't changed in last 3 years. Plus, it has gone down 60%. So yes, store of value, but with a huge instability in price. So point is, it's not that the Bitcoin is the only store of value. So any asset that beats the inflation is store of value. Plus, I have additional condition that it must be non-volatile, like so any asset like that, a good quality stock like Microsoft or Apple, or you can see how nicely it moves, and even for that reason, gold and so that meet both the conditions. So it's just my quick tip. So coming to my earlier point that the money goes from one asset to another asset, one region to another region, and so on. So each and every asset goes through, some kind of downturn. The smart people rotate money. That's the only difference, and they do it on timely basis. When you talk about crypto, what I see is the BTC is taking more liquidity at this moment. I mean, getting more liquidity for sure. Okay, I think this is enough. I think this gives a overall idea about what BTC is doing, and we saw reference data. So I think let's look at altcoin. We want to see how bad. We can look at actually 2 days and see. So APT went down very badly, nasty drop. Wow, nasty drop, but it held up. You can see that RB supported, and then now it is above RC. So it is recovering quickly. But yeah, it was see. Earlier the support had this one supported it, but then yeah, it went deeper. But if you look at it, there's no structural damage. Oh, this is huge drop, but this hasn't broken this low. So this kind of drop actually offers opportunity in simple words. BCH is added. Now BCH reacted, which is fine because it was resistance, and trend is fine. Trend is perfectly fine. It touched the previous high. Um, this is totally fine. So you can look at weekly. So it's this reaction at this orange, and yeah, the next is this. I know it's a huge one, but as I said, I'm focusing more on the trend. So after this, it should go up. Now, if the overall market tanks, I'm not saying this is in. I mean, this will outperform. I'm not saying that. So there's always precondition for this alts that if BTC starts losing, right, this alts we have to assume. So that's why I don't spend a lot of time in alts because they're going to follow BTC. If any coin doesn't follow, then we can talk about it, right? So BCH, I think is looking for previous all-time high, previous high. I mean, this one. Let's look at BSV. BSV again tested the same level like this one. So there's no damage. There's no damage. So this, I think, again, I would say it should go up like this. I'll keep this coin for a while. There's a lot of, because the halving hasn't complete for BTC, and some of the, analysts are indicating, fundamental analysts are indicating that there'll be some hash power related, conflict where some miners might move from BTC to BSV and BCH. That's why I wanted to have all three chains. You know that I'm not focusing on any one particular coin, but so the perspective, the fundamental analysis point of view, um, see the BTC has highest support, community support, but the most pathetic design at this moment because they are going into SegWit, they're going into Lightning. That's my take. I'm also from technology background, so I have all right to comment on this. And I'm TA after first time technologist. I worked for 20 years and distributed systems, so I can definitely give my insight and share my comment with confidence that their technical design is nowhere what Satoshi wanted. And that is one of the reasons I'm also keeping eye on BCH and BSV. I know there are things, political point of view, personal point of view, there are different point of view. I'm talking purely from technology point of view. Okay. So BTC is direction where there are no product and services, and I no hesitance to say they are not able to demonstrate anything that works. And they are careless, so careless, they don't care. They are not even updated people other than just El Salvador or that kind of failed use case where people are not even using it. Or it failed actually, basically. Yeah. So Lightning Network hasn't worked so far and so on. So any services product, it doesn't work. And they want revenue. That's why they have sidechain. They are not using main chain because the main chain revenue goes to miners and the Blockstream and other private companies. I posted one article on Chatter if you have seen it. So Blockstream wants revenue, and if they are not mining it, how will they get revenue? They have to create something, and that's what they are doing. There, there is a political angle. There is self-interest. People need to aware of it. Okay, so BTC definitely it comes to price action, when it is about making money, it is number one. There's no doubt about it. So that we have to distinguish two things, right? Because if the goal is to make money, BTC is making money for us, not other are okay, but stability and making money, progress, trend, and all that, right? So there's no doubt about it. But when it comes to technology, usable, viable product, they are not there. So that's why I'm focusing on other platforms. Now, BCH is excellent in payments. It has proven very low fee, extremely fast, bigger block, high bandwidth, high throughput. Yes, there are something related to their um, difficulty adjustment algorithm. DAA they have changed and it's not so effective. Without going into detail, basically you can Google and search up. So they change a bit. So that is not so effective. But otherwise, it has a viable product. You can literally use it. And BSV, the negative side is the Craig, right? Because his image. And he lost the recent case. He's going to appeal. I don't know. I think 12th was the last date, so I have to check whether he applied for the appeal. He was supposed to apply for the appeal yesterday. I don't know the latest. So I don't know. I mean, so he's not able to prove it, and I would not assume that he's Satoshi because he has to prove it. But BSV is doing something what Mike Hearn and Gavin and Anderson was talking about, because these are two very, I like them. They are the two initial, core developers. There were many, but these were the two front runners. And a lot of emails were exchanged with Satoshi, and Satoshi had handed over to Gavin Anderson. So we cannot ignore him. So they also tried to fork. If you don't know, you can search up, and their fork didn't work. This fork was before BCH, so it didn't work. So very interesting because they were also big blockers. Okay, very very interesting history that Bitcoin has. Anyways, so um, BSV is doing something what Satoshi would have done in my point of view, because they have increased the block size. That's one thing which BCH has done it together, and now then BSV went into different path, and they implemented smart contract for like competing, you can say, or enabling features that any smart contract platform like Ethereum or Solana is doing. So BSV is preparing itself for enterprise level solutions, and they have a lot of patents and all. So there are positive and negatives. I'm just highlighting. I'm not deciding. For me, I'm focusing on all three, and things could change anytime. So that's why it is good to keep an eye. So I'm not trying to promote anything, but I'm just sharing some of the pros and cons. You can decide what makes sense. You can do research and take your own judgment. But it's good idea to have eye on all three. That's my point. Now the Dogecoin has retested this level. Now, Dogecoin, poor Dogecoin has a good capability of payment point of view because it's the cheap, very fast. But Elon is the only supporter, big supporter, but only supporter. So if he brings Doge in real transaction, then Doge can actually get a huge boost in my point of view, fundamental point of view. Technically, it just retested Ethereum. Ethereum has retested R4. Fundamental point of view, it has to improve on gas and improve throughput. Otherwise, it is likely to die. Not die means not like zero. Die means I should not say die, but it could become irrelevant. So something like you irrelevant means it's not a front, it may not remain the front runner. Right now it's a front runner, definitely, but it has to improve because if it doesn't make the solution usable, scalable, um, usable means in terms of large audience with a lower fees and all. So it has to do it. Now, the good thing about Ethereum is a lot of L2s are being developed. You must be tracking on it, I'm sure. So that, so they are building and trying to basically um, fill the gaps in terms of scaling and lower fees. So if they are successful, because they are building on Ethereum, I mean, right, rollups and all. So in that case, Ethereum will have value. If L2s fail for any reason, then Ethereum will be irrelevant. I hope I'm making sense. Ethereum itself has no major probability, and the reason is it's probably the code is so complicated that it is very difficult to refactor. They have done it by going into POS, proof of stakes, but I think probably it's too risky to change any make any major changes, and or probably they reach to their potential, and that's why they are now focusing more on L2 because they cannot touch um, Ethereum beyond certain limit, technology point of view. So the Ethereum success depends totally on L2's success. Okay, FET, this is consolidation around R3, very strong coin, AI driven. Filecoin has retested this one. This is also good use case. Solana is using it, and but the price action is poor, I must say, very poor. So it's doing well in terms of real use case, in my opinion, but not in terms of price. So this is the world. I mean, the Filecoin is being used practically speaking, but it is doing not so good, and it is also maybe because of the high supply and all. So tokenomics probably could be the reason. Whatever is the thing, but anyway, so price action point of view, it has retested the breakout level. So as long as it's above S1, it's fine. Below S1 is no good. FTM has retested this breakout level. So this was a little deeper. Oops. This is deeper, but there's no other fundamental change. If it enters, then I think we have to remove this green line, I mean green path, otherwise it stays. INJ has come down, tested R1 or trend line. So this consolidation has extended. So again, recovery from here somewhere in May, right? Looks like somewhere in May it should come out, looking at the structure. But if it breaks this one and continues and go for S1, then it's a real trouble. And breaking below S1, you can say that it's it wants to reverse the trend, so to speak. I have to calculate at that time, but so we'll see when it happens, if it happens. Okay, as it's consolidating, so major dip, but again, look at it's above support now. Closing price is important. Focus on closing price. Okay, focus on closing price. Because spikes are sometimes annoying. It doesn't tell you the real picture. Link is a bit boring, which I mentioned last time. It was boring here as well. I'm now getting bored. I mean, it's a bit boring here as well. But anyway, we have it, so we track it. So uh, again, as far as risk is concerned, of course not. This low is fine. If this low is broken, let's say R2 is broken, then that's not good. But now we can draw. Looks like this is, let's say, trend line. With support line. So if it drops next this, and then we'll have to see. Hope this is not head and shoulder. I hope not. We will see. But yeah, if it is, if it goes down and touches this one, then a bounce, and then again, then it's a head and shoulder. Then it could crash to S1, right? Scenario point of view. But you cannot say head and shoulder now at this moment. You cannot. You cannot. It has to do a lot before it is head and shoulder. But just this is from academic point of view. So our India touched the orange line. I know it is little severe drop. Yes, but I tweeted yesterday. So this was around 52, 53% drop, slower drop. And this is also 50% drop, quicker drop. And this from 1.3, let's say 1.3 to $13, 10x move. So this connection gave 10x move, right? Um, so this drop could give something more, right? Something like that. If so, but if this breaks this critical support, then we have to invalidate that. Otherwise, we're talking about higher level. Room, RUME, has touch R3. Again, that's a support. This is fine. I mean, this is, we can explain this simple support line like this. Yeah, this is fine. For now, SOL also went down deeply. 141. Okay, but yeah, it's above R7. You see that above R7. If it breaks R7, that's a warning sign. And then yeah, if it comes down to this one, it could have. And if it has to reverse, it has to. I think, but similar to what I said, if it has to reverse hypothetically, again hypothetically, then it would do something like this. It won't happen all of a sudden. So to me, even if it drops to this level, there's going to be some bounce. And if this bounce fails, then only I'll decide what to do from a planning point of view. I'm saying this is important. If this happens, then this is important. I'm not going to keep it for now. If it breaks R7, then we have to bring that scenario. At this moment, no. Look at TIA, blah 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 blah. It touched the R1. What can I say? This was support line. It broke, came down. Bounce didn't happen. It broke. It was extreme. But R1 supported. So we can say, yeah, this has tried. This has tried. Yeah, so R1 has supported. So definitely, if R1 is broken, then this is broken, right? So we can say that this is fine because R1 is not broken. So this also means opportunity. So this is more like capitulation. This is more like capitulation. So I would consider this as opportunity. With that note, we end this session. I hope you find helpful. Feel free to ask me more if there are questions. Thanks.